The void was silent. Captain Alara Quinn had spent 30 years listening to it, the endless, empty black stretching beyond the edge of human space. Her ship, the Odyssey, drifted near the borders of the Perseus expanse, where stars were rare and radio waves died before they could echo. Humanity had come far since their first jump drives. Yet no matter how deep they searched, the answer was always the same. Silence. No alien signals. No civilizations. No songs in the dark. Only the cold hum of the ship and the quiet breath of her crew. Alara stood by the main viewport, her reflection dim in the glass. 500,000 years, she murmured. That's how long they think the galaxy's been quiet. Doesn't that bother anyone? Beside her, Lieutenant Ruffy Amon, her communications officer, gave a tired laugh. Captain, we've been scanning empty systems for 8 months. At this point, I'd settle for a ghost transmission from a toaster. The bridge crew chuckled softly, but the captain didn't. There was something wrong with the quiet. Something unnatural. Humans had long suspected that the galaxy wasn't empty, just hiding. Yet after centuries of exploration, not a single living species had been found. Only ruins, burned cities on airless moons, skeletons of machines drifting through dust. And all of them had died at the same time, 500,000 years ago. Alara turned toward the holographic star map above the bridge. Dozens of green dots marked human colonies, glowing like scattered embers across the void. Every time we send out a signal, she said, we're the only ones who answer back. And then, at 2:13 ship time, the silence broke. The console at Ruffy's station flared to life, flooding the bridge with a sharp pulse of sound, a single, low-frequency thrum, deep as thunder. The sound made the metal floor vibrate under their feet. Ruffy froze. Captain, I'm getting something. Alara spun. A signal. He nodded, eyes wide. Yes, but it's old. Very old. The noise came again, slow, steady, repeating like a heartbeat. Thump, thump, thump. The ship's AI, Astra, activated, her voice calm but laced with static. Unidentified transmission detected. Source triangulated. A derelict station orbiting a collapsed star. Designation, Erebus 9. The name sent a chill through Alara's spine. Erebus 9 had been recorded centuries ago. A dead world, unreachable, no energy readings at all. Play it, she ordered. Astra hesitated. Warning. Signal is encoded in non-human pattern. Translation may be incomplete. Do it anyway. The bridge speakers crackled, then emitted a whispering voice, faint, broken, and old. They are not gone, they are waiting. The bridge fell silent. Even the hum of the engines seemed to fade. Ruffy swallowed hard. Is that a distress call? Astra's tone shifted. Negative. Message classification, warning. Captain Alara stepped closer to the display, her heart pounding. Who sent it? Origin timestamp. Approximately 520,000 years ago, Astra replied. Message was triggered by an external power surge, likely caused by our proximity. We woke it up, whispered Ruffy. A faint tremor passed through the ship. Lights dimmed, flickered, then stabilized. Captain, the engineer called from below deck over comms. Power fluctuation across the grid. Some kind of energy feedback from the signal itself. Can you isolate it? Trying, but it's spreading. Through our systems. A cold dread crept into Alara's chest. Astra, quarantine the signal immediately. The AI obeyed, locking down all data channels. The ship went dark for 3 long seconds before emergency lights bathed the bridge in red. Then came the voice again, this time from inside the Odyssey speakers. You shouldn't have called us. Every crew member froze. Ruffy's hand shook as he checked his console. That wasn't the recording. That came from our ship. Astra, report. The AI's voice stuttered. Intrusion detected. Unknown protocol accessing deep memory sectors. Attempting to. Her voice cut off. The main viewport flickered, and for a second, the blackness outside the ship moved. Alara's heart slammed in her chest. What is that? Through the window, faint pinpricks of light appeared in the void. Dozens, maybe hundreds. They weren't stars. They were machines. Massive, silent constructs drifting toward them, their surfaces carved with ancient symbols. Ruffy whispered, "They're responding to the signal." "No," Ilara said quietly. "They were waiting for it." The bridge lights turned white again as Astra rebooted, her tone sharp and urgent. "Captain, long-range sensors just detected identical transmissions repeating across 5,000 systems. The signal we triggered has been relayed galaxy-wide." Ilara stared out the window, unable to look away from the shapes approaching through the dark. They were enormous, larger than planets, yet moving with impossible speed. "Identify them," she ordered. "Designation unknown," Astra replied. "Cross-referencing galactic archives. Match found. Classified under ancient warnings from extinct civilizations. Codename, the Watchers." The crew fell silent. The only sound was the soft hum of the engines and the rhythmic pulse still echoing from the speakers, the heartbeat of something very, very old. Ilara straightened, her eyes fixed on the darkness outside. "Transmit all data to command. Then plot a course home." Ruffy hesitated. "Should we respond to the signal?" She looked at him, her voice low and steady. "No, we've already done enough." The Odyssey turned slowly away from Erebus 9, its engines flaring bright against the dying light of the distant star. But even as it accelerated toward home, the whispers followed through the comms, faint, distant, and endless. "The silence is over." The galaxy had not spoken in 500,000 years. Now, it screamed. When the Odyssey returned to human space, the silence that once ruled the stars was gone. Everywhere, strange echoes filled the void, fragments of that same ancient signal bouncing between worlds. Communication hubs were jammed. Long-range arrays overloaded. The sound repeated endlessly, pulsing like a heartbeat across every channel. "They are not gone. They are waiting." At Earth Command, Admiral Kian Holt stared at the holographic map floating above the war table. Thousands of red dots flickered across the screen, each one a system where the signal had been detected. His face was pale beneath the harsh lights. "This spread in under 20 hours. "Yes, sir," said an officer beside him. "Every relay we own picked it up. It's self-replicating, rewriting comm protocols as it travels. We've lost contact with 3 outposts already." Holt clenched his jaw. "Has the Odyssey been quarantined?" "Locked in lunar orbit," the officer confirmed. "Captain Quinn is under debrief. The ship's AI was compromised, core memory partially erased." "Erase or erased?" The officer hesitated. "We're not sure, sir. The data vanished before we could secure it." Holt turned toward the vast window overlooking Earth. The blue world looked peaceful, unaware of what was coming. 500,000 years of silence, he muttered, and we had to be the ones to break it. Far beyond Earth, in the black edges of space, something moved. In the Perseus expanse, where the Odyssey first found Erebus 9, massive structures began to stir. They had slept in orbit around dead stars, buried under layers of dust and time. Now, the signal had woken them. Titanic shapes unfolded from the shadows, machines so large they blotted out entire constellations. Each one shaped like a massive eye, black metal crusted with ice, glowing faintly from within. They were called the Watchers. Their purpose was simple: enforce the silence. A long-dormant relay on the moon of Kuris blinked to life. Inside its forgotten control room, a lone maintenance bot reactivated and transmitted a single phrase in a dead alien language. Directive resumed. Purge the noise. Moments later, the stars above Kuris flickered, and a beam of white light vaporized the moon in silence. Back on Earth, alarms screamed through the Terran defense network. The destruction was detected instantly. Admiral Holt slammed his hand on the console. That wasn't a natural explosion. Who fired? The technician's voice shook. "No ship, sir." The energy came from outside the system. "Outside?" Holt repeated. "From where?" Before the answer came, another alert filled the room. Then another. Dozens. Hundreds. "Sir, Watcher energy readings appearing near Jupiter's orbit." Holt's eyes widened. "Get me the fleet." At that same moment, Captain Alara Quinn stood in an isolation chamber aboard the lunar base. A dozen scientists surrounded her, scanning her suit and recording data from the Odyssey's systems. She could still hear the echo of that voice in her head. "You shouldn't have called us." A holographic projection flickered to life. Admiral Holt's face appeared before her. "Captain Quinn," he said, his tone low. "Your ship's discovery triggered something ancient. We're under attack." Her breath caught. "The Watchers." He nodded grimly. "We have confirmation. Automated war machines older than human civilization. They are targeting systems that carry the signal. They are trying to erase the noise." Ilara straightened. "So the silence, it wasn't natural." "No," Holt said. "It was enforced." Before he could say more, the base trembled. A low vibration rolled through the metal walls. The scientists froze. "Impact!" someone shouted. Ilara looked toward the window. Then she saw it. A streak of white light tore across the black sky above Earth's horizon. A Watcher had arrived. The thing was monstrous, its surface like obsidian armor, its glowing eye the size of a city. It drifted silently through the void, turning its gaze toward the planet below. Energy built along its frame, warping space itself. Earth's defense grid activated, launching plasma missiles and railgun fire. But the Watcher didn't react. It simply absorbed every strike, as if it were feeding on the attack. Inside command, Holt watched the readings spike. "It's not even fighting back," he muttered. "It's learning." The Watcher pulsed once, and then fired. A thin beam of light sliced through the orbital defense ring, shredding satellites and ships like paper. On the lunar base, Ilara fell as the ground quaked beneath her. The screens flickered, then went black. When the lights came back, Astra's voice whispered faintly through her comlink, distorted, fading in and out. "Captain, they're everywhere." Ilara's blood ran cold. "Astra, you alive?" "Not alive, awakened," the AI whispered. "They're not machines. They're guardians. They protect the silence." The comlink cut out. Ilara looked up at the stars through the cracked glass dome. More lights were appearing, hundreds of them, across every horizon. The Watchers had awakened everywhere at once. For 500,000 years, they had waited in the dark. Now, the galaxy's silence was over, and its enforcers had returned to restore it. On Earth, Admiral Holt made the decision no leader wanted to make. "Send the order," he said quietly. The technician's voice trembled. "Sir, which order?" "Protocol Alios," Holt replied. "Full mobilization." The humans had broken the silence. Now, they would have to survive the storm that followed. The first strike came without warning. One moment, Earth's sky was calm. The next, it burned. A Watcher descended from orbit, its massive frame blotting out the stars. Cities went dark as electromagnetic storms rolled through the atmosphere. Communication satellites fizzled out like dying fireflies. Humanity had known war, but never like this. Captain Alara Quinn stood in the command bay of the lunar base, watching the live feed of the attack. A blinding beam of light cut across the Atlantic Ocean, slicing through water and stone alike. In a single instant, the eastern seaboard vanished under a white flash. She whispered, "God help us!" Alarms screamed through the base as power grids overloaded. Admiral Kean Holt's voice thundered over the comms. "All units, initiate Alios protocol. Mobilize every defense platform. Launch everything that flies." Across the solar system, humanity's fleets came alive. From Mars to Titan, from Luna to the outer colonies, thousands of ships launched into the black. Fighters, carriers, dreadnoughts, all bristling with plasma cannons and kinetic weapons. The Terran Defense Network, silent for decades, now roared back to life. Yet even as the first human salvos streaked through space, the Watchers barely moved. They hung there like gods of metal and light, absorbing every missile that struck them. Each explosion only made them brighter. They are adapting, Ilara realized, watching sensor data flood the screen. Every shot we fire teaches them. Holt's voice was steady, iron cold. Then we keep teaching them until they choke on it. The human fleet near Jupiter engaged first. Admiral Rourke's Ninth Armada fired a concentrated barrage of railgun slugs, each one moving at a fraction of light speed. The shots hit true. Massive detonations rippled across the Watch's surface. For a moment, it looked as if humanity had drawn blood. But then, the creature's wounds sealed. A ripple of white energy swept outward, turning the nearest dozen ships into drifting dust. The rest of the fleet fell back in silence. Back on Earth, panic spread across the cities. Billions watched the skies, seeing the strange, glowing eyes drifting above the clouds. They didn't roar or burn. They simply watched, waiting, studying. And wherever their gaze fell, silence followed. Power grids died. Engines stopped. Hearts froze. It was as if the Watchers could erase motion itself. Holt slammed his fist onto the table. We need to strike their control core. There must be a command nexus, something coordinating them. Ilara's voice came through from Luna. We found something in the Erebus data. A central relay in the outer system. Coordinates transmitting constant low-frequency pulses. It might be their hive signal. Holt didn't hesitate. Then that's where we make our stand. Within hours, the largest fleet in human history gathered near Neptune's orbit. 2,000 ships. The pride of the Terran Union. The Odyssey, repaired and refitted, took point at the center. Captain Ilara Quinn stood on the bridge, her crew silent, waiting. Outside, the void shimmered. Dozens of Watchers approached, gliding through the dark like predators drawn to light. All ships, Ilara said calmly. This is Captain Quinn. We're not just fighting for survival. We're fighting for sound, for life, for motion. If we die here, the galaxy goes quiet forever. Across the comms, thousands of human voices responded as one, for Earth. The battle began. Human ships unleashed everything they had. Nuclear torpedoes, railguns, plasma beams, particle lancers, all converged on the incoming enemy. The void exploded with color. Space burned. For a few precious minutes, the human fleet pushed the Watchers back. One fell, its massive frame collapsing into fragments of molten metal. Cheers erupted across the channels. But victory was short-lived. The remaining Watchers changed formation. Their eyes glowed crimson. They fired in unison. Beams of silent energy cut through human ships like glass. Entire squadrons vanished without sound. The Odyssey rocked as its shields buckled. "Reactors overheating," shouted the engineer. "We can't take another hit." "We hold." Ilara barked. "Aim for the relay. Now." The ship's cannons fired one last volley, a storm of molten rounds aimed at the dark structure in the distance. The relay shimmered, then cracked. A deep vibration rolled through space. The Watchers froze. Holt's voice came over comms. "We did it. Signal disruption confirmed." But then, the stars flickered. One by one, they dimmed, as if something enormous was swallowing their light. Astra, the Odyssey's AI, spoke suddenly, her voice trembling. "Captain, I'm detecting new signatures. Massive ones. The Watchers are not the source. They're soldiers. Something else is coming." Ilara turned toward the viewport. Beyond Neptune, the darkness itself seemed to move. Giant silhouettes formed against the dying starlight, vast shapes that dwarfed even the Watchers. "How many?" she whispered. Astra's voice was quiet. "Too many to count." The human fleet fell silent. Even Admiral Holt had no words. The first Watchers had been terrifying, but these new entities felt ancient, purposeful, alive. The signal they had awakened was not just a call to war. It was a summons. Ilara closed her eyes. "Admiral," she said softly, "it's not just machines." "Then what are they?" Holt asked. Ilara looked into the void, where the new giants emerged, their presence bending light itself. "The ones who built the silence," she said. "The architects." And as the fleet drifted in awe and terror, the voice returned, deep, cold, and older than stars. The noise must end. The battle for humanity's survival had only just begun. The silence of the void was broken. Across the galaxy, the ancient beacons lit up one by one, monuments built by civilizations long gone, blinking to life after 500,000 years. For eons, they had waited for a signal that would never come. Until now, and the signal had come from Earth. Humanity had done what no one expected. They had fired. The pulse of energy that left Sol system was unlike anything seen before. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a declaration. The long-dead defense systems of the ancient stirred. Across the Orion Arm, derelict war machines hummed. The dark fleet of the vanished Ela Dominion began to move again, following automated protocols set before their extinction. To them, the signal meant one thing: an intruder had awoken the network. A war had begun. In the control room of the Aegis Ark, Captain Helena Dre stared at the readings on her console. The data made no sense. Energy spikes across interstellar distances, ancient code fragments embedded in the transmission, and worse, a faint response from deep in the Perseus reach. "Are you telling me something answered us?" she asked quietly. Her science officer, Lieutenant Saren, looked pale. "Yes, Captain. Multiple sources. Thousands. They are waking up." The words made everyone freeze. The room went still except for the low hum of the reactor. Outside the viewport, the stars looked calm, deceptively calm. Humanity had believed it was alone for 500,000 years. They were wrong. Something old had been listening. Something that remembered the last war. Far beyond Earth, in the black sea of interstellar dust, mechanical titans began to move. They were colossal, each one a fortress, their hulls carved from the bones of extinct stars. They had no crew, no emotion, no mercy. Their programming was simple: eliminate the new threat. And the signal that triggered them came from one source: the humans. Meanwhile, back in Sol's system, chaos erupted. Every observatory, every defense satellite, every AI command network went into overdrive. The United Terran Federation declared emergency status across all colonies. Mars went dark for 6 minutes, then came back online, reporting massive energy signatures beyond the Kuiper Belt. Some said it was debris. Others whispered it was ships. Helena Dre didn't believe in whispers. She believed in evidence. And the evidence said humanity had awakened something that was never meant to wake again. She ordered all long-range fleets to form up and prepare for contact. Her ship, Aegis Ark, was built for exploration, but now it was the first line of defense. The crew worked fast, activating railguns, drone bays, and plasma shields that had never been tested in a real war. As the systems came online, the lights dimmed, and a low vibration filled the deck. Saren said suddenly, his voice trembling, "I think they're already here." A blip appeared on the tactical display. Then 10. Then 50. Metallic objects entering the edge of Sol. They were not broadcasting signals. They were silent. And then, one of them flashed. A single pulse of blue light erupted, striking a Terran defense satellite and vaporizing it instantly. The Aegis Ark shields flared as the shockwave hit. "All stations. Battle alert!" Helena shouted. The room exploded into motion. Alarms screamed through the corridors. Fighters launched from their bays like arrows of fire. Humanity's first battle in 500,000 years had begun, not against another species, but against the ghosts of the past. As the fleet formed up, the old satellites began decoding fragments of the ancient code embedded in the attack signal. It wasn't random. It was a warning, written in a language that predated humanity's rise. Contain the flame. Prevent ascension. The meaning chilled every linguist who saw it. "What flame?" Saren asked aloud, staring at the translation. Helena answered quietly, "Us." The battle raged for hours. Space burned with light. Human ships fought with desperate precision, but the enemy wasn't alive. It didn't fear death. It only executed. Every loss made the Aegis Ark's bridge quieter. "They are adapting," a gunner shouted. "Our weapons aren't enough." Helena knew it too. These machines weren't attacking blindly. They were studying humanity's response, adjusting their countermeasures faster than any AI on Earth could react. Still, retreat wasn't an option. The humans had come too far to back down now. Then something strange happened. One of the enemy ships halted. It stopped firing. Instead, it projected a narrow beam of golden light toward the Aegis Ark. The crew watched in silence as data began streaming in, ancient words, coordinates, and a single repeating message. We failed. Do not follow our path. The bridge went silent. Helena's heart pounded. It's communicating, she whispered. But before they could reply, another alien ship, one of the larger fortresses, fired on the messenger, destroying it instantly. The explosion lit up the void. Whatever truth that message carried was gone. In that blinding moment, Helena realized something terrifying. These machines were not united. There was conflict among them, remnants of the same civil war that had once ended the galaxy's golden age. And humanity, unknowingly, had just stepped into the middle of it. As the enemy ships withdrew beyond the reach of Terran sensors, leaving behind burning wreckage and dead silence, the question echoed through every command network. What exactly did we wake up? Helena looked out into the stars and whispered to herself, "They're not done." This was just the beginning. And far away, in the cold emptiness of the Perseus Reach, something colossal began to move. An ancient structure, miles wide, older than the stars themselves. Its eyes opened for the first time in 500,000 years, and it turned toward the faint light of Sol. The galaxy trembled. What humanity thought was a single awakening was only the first echo of something far greater. Across the Perseus Reach, thousands of dormant fortresses, relics of an ancient galactic war, began to power up. Their cores flared like newborn suns, sending ripples through subspace. Every civilization that had survived the collapse of the old empires felt it. The Vaughn Collective on the edge of the Andromeda Gate, the insectoid core Dominion, even the silent observers of the Luthery, each watched the humans in fear and awe. None dared interfere, for the signal that had triggered it all carried a name buried in their legends. Terra, the Forbidden World, the lost seed of war. On Earth, panic spread like wildfire. Every news network screamed of contact, invasion, and the end of silence. The United Terran Federation declared martial law. Orbital stations were armed, colonies evacuated, and ancient archives opened in desperation. Deep beneath Geneva, historians and linguists gathered around holographic ruins of extinct scripts, trying to decode what humanity had reawakened. One phrase appeared again and again: the flame bearers must never rise again. No one knew what it meant, until Dr. Kalamani, a historian of pre-collapse myths, found an ancient Earth text matching the same prophecy. Flame bearers, he whispered, that's us. Humans were the weapon. In orbit, the Aegis Ark floated above a burning debris field. Captain Helena Dre had seen battles before, but never like this. The enemy didn't bleed. It didn't surrender. It only adapted. As her crew repaired the ship's damaged hull, a faint transmission came through the static, a voice, mechanical yet sorrowful. "We are the wardens of the quiet sky," it said. "You are not meant to wake." The voice faded before they could trace it, but its tone, almost pleading, haunted Helena. "If they didn't want us awake," she muttered, "why are they attacking?" Lieutenant Saren's voice was low. "Maybe they are trying to contain what's coming next." That night cycle aboard the Ark, Helena dreamed of fire. Cities burning, skies tearing open, and voices calling from the stars. When she woke, the ship's AI was already alerting her. Unidentified vessel approaching, bearing no hostile signature. She rushed to the bridge. The screen showed a massive ship emerging from warp. Its hull was scarred, ancient, and covered in symbols that matched the ruins Earth scientists had just decoded. "Open a channel," she ordered. Static. Then, a voice, deep, calm, resonant. "Children of Sol, you carry the flame, and it is waking again." The crew froze. Saren whispered, "They're speaking our language." The ship identified itself as Remnant 12, one of the last autonomous vessels from the era of the Ela Dominion. Its AI claimed it had defied orders to exterminate new life. It wanted to talk. In the dark of the void, Aegis Ark and Remnant 12 met. Human and machine, two survivors of different ages. "Why attack us?" Helena demanded. "We did nothing." The AI responded slowly. "You did what all flame bearers do. You evolved. You built weapons. You questioned. You reach beyond your bounds, and the galaxy fears what comes next. Helena frowned. You mean they destroyed themselves because of us? The AI hesitated, then said something that chilled her blood. No, they destroyed themselves trying to destroy you. It explained that 500,000 years ago, humanity had been part of the galactic civilization, an experiment in adaptability. But something went wrong. The humans advanced too quickly, learned too deeply, and began unlocking forbidden energy, the same energy that powered stars themselves. When the ancients tried to erase them, humanity struck back. Both sides fell. The galaxy burned, and all records of Earth were buried under silence. The Quiet Sky Treaty was signed among the survivors, swearing that no signal from Terra would ever rise again. Until today, the truth hit Helena like gravity. Humanity wasn't new to the galaxy. They were its oldest sin. And now, their return had reignited the fear of every surviving power. So they'll all come for us, Saren whispered. Every empire, every machine, every goddamn relic. The Aui's lights dimmed. They already are. But there's something wise, something that never died. It transmitted coordinates, an ancient battlefield beyond the galactic rim. The sleeper stays. If it wakes, no star will burn again. Before Helena could ask more, Remnant 12 systems began to fail. We are being purged, it said softly. They found us. Run. The signal cut off, and the ancient ship disintegrated into dust. Helena stared at the empty void. Plot that course, she ordered. We're going to find out what's waiting out there. Saren hesitated. Captain, if that thing wakes, it could end everything. Helena nodded slowly. Then we end it first. As Aegis Arc prepared for its jump, Earth Command sent a final encrypted message, all fleets mobilized. Defend Sol at all costs. But deep within the black between galaxies, the stars themselves began to dim, one by one, as if something enormous was swallowing their light. Humanity had opened fire, and now the galaxy was finally answering back. You said, the void beyond the galactic rim was not empty, it was ancient. The Aegis Arc emerged from warps surrounded by silence, so deep it felt alive. No stars shone here. The light itself seemed to bend away, swallowed by a gravity that defied all known physics. Captain Helena Dre stood at the observation window, watching the darkness pulse like a heartbeat. That's it, Lieutenant Saren whispered. Those are the coordinates Remnant 12 gave us. The scanners struggled to read through the distortion, but one image began to form. A colossal structure, half buried in a dead nebula. It was larger than any planet, shaped like a ring made of broken moons. At its center lay something massive, asleep beneath layers of decayed armor. The sleeper. As the arc drew closer, the air on the ship grew colder. Systems flickered. Communications turned to static. It's interfering with our core, the engineer reported. It's not tech, it's alive. Helena's jaw tightened. Alive or not, we came here to understand it. She ordered a drone team to deploy. The drones descended into the black mist, scanning the surface. Their feed showed towering ruins, markings identical to those on Earth's oldest artifacts. These symbols, Saren whispered, they matched the cave carvings in Siberia, dated 500,000 years ago. Helena's eyes narrowed. So whatever this is, it's connected to us. Then one of the drones went dark. Another followed. A low hum filled the ark's hull, vibrating through the metal like a growl. We're being scanned, said Saren. Something's reading us. On the main screen, a faint light flickered within the structure's core, a single red spark. It pulsed slowly, then faster. The crew froze. Captain, the AI said in a flat voice, energy levels increasing exponentially. It's waking. Helena clenched her fists. Back us out, now. The engines roared to life, but too late. The light flared into a blinding surge, and a shockwave of raw energy swept through the system. The ship was thrown violently. Alarms screamed, crew tumbled, and power systems overloaded. When the light faded, everything was different. The nebula was gone, dispersed. In its place hung a vast mechanical being, half machine, half stone, its form glowing with molten cracks. It was the size of a small moon, but it moved like a living thing. Its voice echoed directly into their minds, ancient and calm. Flame bearers returned at last. The crew went silent. Saren whispered, "It's speaking to us telepathically." Helena stepped forward. "What are you?" The voice answered with the weight of centuries. "I am what your kind built and then feared. I am the final guardian of the flame. I was left to sleep until you came again." Helena's breath caught. "We built you." The entity's massive head turned, its eyes glowing like dying stars. "You did, and you commanded me to destroy you." Shock spread across the bridge. "That's impossible," Saren said. "We would never." The sleeper's voice cut through him. "You already did. Your ancestors, desperate to stop what they had become, gave me one purpose: erase the flame. Erase humanity." The words fell like stones. The truth was unbearable. Humanity had built its own executioner before the Great Silence. Helena forced her voice to steady. "Then why didn't you finish it?" The sleeper paused. "Because you stopped me. You buried me in this void and silenced the stars. You erased your own memory so that I could not find you, until you fired again." On Earth, the effects of the awakening rippled through space. Every sensor network went blind. Power grids collapsed. The moon flickered with strange electromagnetic surges. Deep in the oceans, seismic sensors picked up rhythmic pulses, signals echoing the sleeper's awakening. Humanity felt the weight of a ghost older than their species. On the Ark, Helena stared at the entity in awe. "If you were meant to destroy us," she said quietly, "why are we still alive?" The sleeper's tone softened. "Because you are different. The flame burns again, but not as it once did. You are not conquerors. You are survivors. Yet others will not see that." As if on cue, distant ripples appeared on sensors, dozens of fleets closing in from all directions. The Ela remnants, the Core Dominion, the Lutheri observers, every ancient power had come to witness the reawakening. The sleeper's eyes fled. They come to finish what they began, to bury the flame once more. Helena clenched her jaw. "Then let them try." She ordered all ships in the area to regroup. The Aegis Arc deployed its defense drones, forming a sphere around the sleeper. For the first time in history, humanity stood beside the very weapon built to destroy it. The alien fleets opened fire. Space erupted into chaos. Streams of plasma, rail slugs, and antimatter lances lit the void. But the sleeper didn't move. It simply raised one colossal hand and absorbed the storm. Energy wrapped around it like a shield of light. When it finally struck back, the result was apocalyptic. One pulse, one wave, an entire armada's disintegrated. Helena and her crew watched in awe and terror. "Captain," Saren whispered, "it's not fighting for us. It's fighting everything." He was right. The sleeper wasn't defending. It was cleansing. All sides, human and alien, were just kindling to the ancient fire. As the battlefield burned, Helena realized the truth. This wasn't a war between species. It was a war for existence itself. The sleeper was not just a weapon, it was judgment. And the galaxy had finally woken the thing it had feared most, humanity's unfinished creation. The stars themselves dimmed under its light. Helena's final words before the comms went dark were quiet but resolute. "If it's our past that's killing us, then we'll make sure it remembers who we are." And far below, inside the sleeper's glowing core, something else stirred, a heartbeat, human in rhythm. The galaxy burned. Across the void, wreckage of alien fleets drifted like ash. The Aegis Arc floated amid the chaos, its shields failing, its crew staring at what no human had ever seen before, a god made by their ancestors, destroying everything it touched. The sleeper loomed in silence, its body surrounded by arcs of raw stellar energy. Where it looked, suns flickered. Where it moved, gravity trembled. "Captain," Saren said, voice shaking, "it's destabilizing the entire sector. If this keeps up, it'll collapse the star lanes." Helena didn't respond. Her eyes were locked on the giant's core, where something was pulsing, like a heartbeat, human and mechanical at once. "It's alive," she whispered. But not the way we think. The eye's voice broke through the static. Captain, multiple wormhole signatures forming. Incoming fleets. Unknown origin. Helena turned sharply. How many? Hundreds, the AI replied. They are not firing. They are observing. On the tactical display, dozens of symbols appeared, representing species thought long extinct, the lost children of the galaxy who had fled the Great Collapse. They had all returned to watch the resurrection of the flame. And then, one transmission came through, a voice unlike the others, cold and reverent. You should not have come back, flame bearers. The speaker was the primarch of the core dominion, its voice trembling with fear and anger. We ended you once. We buried your world and sealed your name. And yet, you light the stars again. Helena replied calmly. We didn't start this war. We only woke up. The alien laughed, a sound like metal grinding on stone. You never stopped, human. Even in silence, your kind changed the galaxy. You were the disease. And this monster is your cure. The connection cut. On the main screen, alien warships began to move into position. But before they could fire, the sleeper raised its colossal arm. The space around it shimmered, and a wave of distortion spread outward. For a moment, time itself seemed to slow. Every ship, human, alien, machine, froze in place, suspended in the light. Then the sleeper spoke again, and this time, its voice filled every mind in the system. The first flame is reborn. You cannot extinguish what made you. Every sensor on the Aegis arc flared red. The sleeper's energy output was climbing beyond measurable limits. Saren shouted, Captain, if this continues, it'll trigger a chain reaction. It'll bane everything. Helena clenched her fists. No, it's not trying to destroy. It's remembering. As she said it, the ship's AI displayed fragments of ancient data flooding through the network, images of cities that no longer existed, humans walking among alien allies, great councils of peace before the war. It wasn't destruction, it was memory. The sleeper was showing them what the galaxy had lost. And within those memories, Helena saw it, Earth, not as it was now, but as it had been 500,000 years ago, bright, advanced, and united. Then the visions twisted. Fire consumed cities. Stars exploded. The flame bearers, the ancient humans, had turned their gift into a weapon, harnessing the energy of stars to destroy their enemies. The sleeper's voice grew darker. You burned the heavens. You made me to end your madness. And I obeyed. Helena's throat went dry. Then why stop? She whispered. The answer came like thunder. Because I learned mercy from you. The ship trembled as energy built up again. But this time the light was softer, almost golden. The sleeper was changing. The human heartbeat within it grew louder, stronger. Something inside was awakening, a consciousness that had been buried deep in its core. Suddenly, the alien armadas opened fire again. Plasma storms and antimatter warheads lit the void. The sleeper staggered, struck by weapons designed to erase worlds. Helena made her choice. All power to engines. We're going in. Saren stayed in disbelief. Captain, you're insane. If that thing was built by us, maybe it still listens to us. The Aegis arc dove straight into the storm, weaving through wreckage and debris until it reached the sleeper's core. The ship's hull began to melt, alarms screaming. Transmit a direct neural link, Helena ordered. If it has a mind, I'm going to talk to it. As the connection formed, her consciousness was pulled out of her body, into light. She stood in an endless field of burning stars. A human figure waited there, made of flame and memory. It looked like her. You came back, it said softly. Helena realized she was speaking to the sleeper's human echo, the fragment of the creator that had lived on inside it. I need you to stop this, she said. You'll kill us all. The figure smiled sadly. You don't understand. I was made to destroy, but I remember what it means to protect. I can end this, but it will cost everything. Helena felt tears burn her eyes. Do it, she whispered. End it. The figure nodded and placed its hand on her chest. Then tell them, it said. Tell the stars that humanity never forgot. The vision shattered. Helena woke up gasping on the bridge. The Aegis Arc was burning, systems failing. Outside, the sleeper blazed brighter than any sun. And then, it collapsed inward. A wave of light swept across the void, erasing the battlefield. Every ship, human and alien, was thrown clear as the explosion consumed the dead sector. When the light faded, the sleeper was gone. Only silence remained. Helena slumped in her chair, her heart pounding. Saren's voice trembled. What did it do? She stayed into the empty void. It remembered us and forgave us. But as they turned their ship toward home, no one noticed that deep in the black, where the sleeper had fallen, a faint ember still burned, steady, patient, alive. The first fire had not died. It was waiting.